everybody, Chris Beast here, and in today's video, so the game is almost over. In fact, we are very much approaching the end now. I did some math, and once the day updates, I'll have enough points to end. And since I don't exactly know how that works, I thought I might as well use right now as the best opportunity to basically cover every single country, its history, and its full extent, while I have a chance. So we're going to be going from west to east. So the first country I'm going to start with is the United States of America, played by Coaching Rex. This country was a huge ally of mine throughout its entire history, and let's just cover what it did. So we are on day 17, so we're going to jump back to day 0. So, as you can see on day 0, the United States actually starts off as a fairly large country. One of the larger countries, I think Russian Empire and some of the African countries might be bigger, but the United States starts off very large. One of the first things, actually I'll also take this opportunity to talk about Canada as well. First things the U.S. does, it makes this deal with Canada to split Michigan. As you can see, it splits Michigan. However, the deal does go south. The United States is going to take all of Michigan, and Canada is going to try to invade the United States. This starts the Canadian-American War, which is one of the most deadly wars for some time. I'm going to get back to, when we get over to Europe, I'll tell you what war is eventually going to beat this war, casualty-wise. But as you can see, the Canadians are going to try an operation where they land down in Boston Harbor, their goal being to take out the very strong industry of the United States, basically crippling their front lines. And the United States is just going to blitz straight into the Canadian country. The Canadians lose, they're pushed out of Boston, and they kind of make a full retreat to this island here, while the United States just hunts them down across the countryside. The United States is going to wipe them out in the countryside, and then in a very, very fast invasion, push across and take this island, finally ending the war and bringing us the United States borders we are so, familiar with. U.S. is going to take a bit more land, though. United States on day 5 is going to launch an invasion into Greenland, and will succeed. 6, they don't do anything. 7, they conquer, I think this is St. John's Island from the UK, and they begin launching an invasion into Iceland. Day 8, they finish their invasion of Iceland, and this is pretty much the largest the U.S. is going to get. They're going to get a little bit more territory, and I'll cover that in a second. But this is the U.S. throughout most of the match. They don't really get bigger for a while. So now we're getting to the U.S. expanding again. Day 13, the United States had been devising a plan with Finland for quite some time to split the UK between the two. This would have been Finnish. This would have been American. America got its half. Finland did not. Finland's going to get cut off by Sweden, and Sweden's just going to say, no, I'm taking all of this, and Finland's not going to have really much say in that. The United States is also going to land down and take both of these islands. Now, these islands now are extremely useful, as they're now my forward operating posts, or would have been my forward operating post should we need to have continued the game to launch invasions into Spain and the southern USA. So again, USA is not going to do much for a while, and then we get into the launch of Operation Coconut. The United States for Operation Coconut is going to blitz into England and into the southern USA at the same time, and the results are going to be pretty much by tomorrow the United States will own all of England, and they will also own most of the southern USA. So that will be the end of the United States. The United States is ending as really the 3rd strongest country in the world. Extremely powerful, as most people thought they would. I can quickly cover the southern USA. They weren't very interesting throughout the war. They were played by Jumbo Isopod. Their only accomplishment was conquering Cuba on, I think, day 4. I don't think I need to go through every day for them, since that's all they did. Moving east, we now can move on to England. England's an interesting country because for a little bit, it was considered part of the Big Three. Big Two alliances you had early game. You have the USSR, Sweden, USA, England, Canada, and for a little bit of time, Yugoslavia as the other alliance. England's going to start off the game very early by conquering Ireland. Very predictable move. And they're going to be spending a lot of money, like a whole lot of money, into the Canadians, trying to get the Canadians to win against the USA. They're not going to win, but the UK is going to land down and take Dunkirk. Actually, not Dunkirk, I think that's Normandy. That is the last time the UK even makes any advances. They're going to let their neighbors around them just do what they want. Because really, the UK's landing in here was a sign of the end of their era of being a strong boy. They spent too much money in Canada to really be continuing an invasion here. And in the end, it just, killed them. The UK, as I've said before, gets cut up eventually by a deal between the United States and Finland. So, moving back in time, we're going to move on to our next country, Spain. So, Spain is now very much if the UK stops being a world power after the United States-Canadian War, Spain and Italy are going to be the two countries that take the UK's place. Spain starts off the game very strong, uniting the Iberian Peninsula. He's then gonna not do much for a day, but begin pushing south into Morocco and north into France. His invasion of France is going to be pretty much one of his more lucrative things. And his invasion of Morocco is going to take forever. This is something important, I feel, in the world scheme, because if the Spanish had conquered Morocco on day 4, because they start their invasion day 3, if they had conquered it day 4, because it's an AI country, we would have seen a very different end result for Africa and what's eventually going to occur in Africa. But Spain is going to take a lot of land in France, and they're also going to finally consolidate down, take out Western Sahara by day 7. Day 8, a war begins between Algeria and Spain. So this is the Great Algerian War. This is going to be the first war. Well, there is another war going on before this that breaks this war's casualty. But this is going to be the highest casualty war even now. It is currently the highest casualty war. So Spain and Turkey give an ultimatum to Algeria, basically being like, bro, you just invaded Spain. You can't do that. Back off. Algeria's going to respond with a nah, how about you die? So Algeria's going to begin blitzkrieging into Spain. At the same time, the Italians are going to take Malta. Poland is going to be handed random strips of land in Libya, while Algeria also invades Libya. And the Egyptians are going to announce formal support for the Algerian side of the war. This is blitzkrieg of Algeria, as you can see, doesn't last very long. It doesn't take long for the Spanish and the Italians to begin pushing back the Algerian tide, and very quickly Algeria starts getting overwhelmed. As Algeria starts to fall in the west, however, Italy starts to push in to begin taking Libya and ex-Algerian territories very quickly. Italy is going to slowly begin sweeping east, and as are the Spanish, in a bid to see who can get what. While these two are pushing, there's eventually a conclusion by Turkey that, hey, if I don't push myself, they're gonna push instead of me. And so you have Algeria falling pretty much on day 12. Turkey, day 13, is going to launch an offensive into Egypt, while the Spanish and the Italians launch the offensive into Libya. Day 14, the Turkish have pushed the Egyptian out of the Middle East, while at the same time the Spanish and the Italians are starting to make good headway into Libya. Day 15, Spanish and Italians have conquered pretty much all of Libya, and the Turkish have pushed across the strait and are now conquering parts of Egypt, like homeland Egypt. Moving on to day 16. Day 16, the Turkish are going to unite and conquer all of Egypt. However, at the same time, the Spanish and the Italians are still trying to conquer Egypt. This is where I get involved. Poland has been selling me territories for a little bit now in Africa. And he sells me these two territories. Basically, the idea was, I'll get to it in a little bit why Poland and me have a weird relationship at this point, but pretty much it's like, I want to win, Poland is going to let me win. So Poland hands me a territory, and I begin rapidly conquering things in order to ensure it doesn't fall into the Spanish and Italian hands. And while yes, I'm allied with Italy and Spain, at this point it was kind of like rocky as to exactly how things would go down. And I also wanted a nice little, African colony. And then we get to now, day 17. Took almost all the land that I wanted, and the war in Africa is over. Very clearly, Spain, Italy, Turkey won that front. Moving on from Africa, we're going to move into Central Europe. I could move in this. I'm going to include Scandinavia in this. So this is going to be Germany, Poland, Austria, that. So early game, you're not going to see too much movement from actual Central Europe, but you're going to see movement from Scandinavia. Finland pushes and takes southern Norway, while Sweden takes most of Norway, while Finland takes one province. Italy's going to take Switzerland. Sweden's going to take Denmark. Italy is going to do its invasion of France, like I already talked about. And then, actually, I think we already missed it. The first conflict on this front. Yes, so this is the First Balkan War. Now, I'm not going to get into the Balkans too much, but I am going to get into... No, actually, I'm not. I'll talk about those in a second. But Poland is going to conquer the Czech Republic during this time, and actually, solidify itself as the strong Central European power. Italy's going to take Belgium. And then the great bid for Germany begins. Italy is going to push from the south and the west. The Netherlands, which Germany stupidly declared war on, are going to push from their direction. Poland and Sweden are going to begin pushing from their respective directions. Very quickly, Germany is going to get divided and pretty much completely conquered up by these feuding powers. We're going to have a couple of stuff going on in Eastern Europe and the works and stuff, which I'll get to in a bit. But you just see Sweden consolidating its power down in Germany. The Polish Empire has fallen. And we get to day 12, 13. So basically by the end of by the end of Germany, there is no more Central European power. Central Europe is completely dominated by exterior powers. So let's move back to day 0, and we're going to talk about the Balkans. The Balkans is single-handedly the most convoluted region in Europe. For this, I'm going to be including Poland, Ukraine, Romania, Yugoslavia, Austria, Bulgaria, Greece. So, this section of the world. Early on, none of these guys are players, so not too much to worry about. Yugoslavia is going to break a very early treaty that was never discussed with him. There's a treaty that's going to be made between Romania and Turkey to cut Bulgaria in half. Yugoslavia is never invited to the treaty-making process, so he just invades Bulgaria and takes what he wants. This is going to bring issues for how Romania and really the world sees early Yugoslavia. But moving on to day 3, Romania is going to take what it wants from Turkey, and we can, as I've already said, Poland invading the Czech Republic. Over here, you can see that the First Balkan Crisis has exploded. The Ukraine is going to invade and conquer eastern Romania. When it does this, Poland is going to also begin a small invasion that's going to stop. Both of these countries are going to stop. There's going to be a little peace treaty that's signed. to end this war. However, me, I'm gonna chomp down and eat northern Ukraine while he's distracted with this war. Moving on, I completely swallow all of the Ukraine. The Ukraine is gonna go on a little angry tangent, blowing himself through the Caucasus and Turkey. He's going to die. Poland is going to begin consolidating its power by conquering more and more of Germany. Poland really consolidates its power and is a pretty strong country. Ukraine is dead. Poland and me are going to get into the Polish War, which is me and Sweden versus Poland and Finland. There is little to no movement at all on the Finnish front, but Poland very quickly dies. Polish defeat results in a very weak Poland. As I said earlier, Central Europe, Poland is the dominant power. He's kind of going to be the reason why earlier you didn't see Romania pushing north and taking anything. Now that Poland's weak, Romania can do exactly that. So the Romanian War is going to start with Romania blitzing into Poland and trying to push through Poland into my weak, soft underbelly that's up here. He's going to partially succeed but largely fail. The Swedish advance, my army advance, and really the existence of a Polish army is going to stop him from getting a unified push through, and eventually he's going to be left with a small, tiny unit that's left. I want to note something interesting about Poland here. Poland gets moved to the west, like pretty far. If I go back to here, let me go back. You can see Poland is much farther east. Like, not anymore. Poland gets moved farther and farther west after every war. I'm going to move it very far west after my Polish war, and then Romania is going to seal the deal and push it even farther west. The Romanian army is going to get stuck up near Minsk, and then they're going to die, while the Romanian defense force gets surrounded and destroyed. That's pretty much the end of any Balkan power, as Italy's going to blitz into Yugoslavia and very quickly overwhelm and kill it. I do get a single province out of that, by the way. The division of Romania looks horrible for most of its existence, but border gore is going to be cleaned up eventually. And we can flip through and see the launching. Alright, so we're going to move into the final front, which is the east, which is me and Sweden. So, if we move into me and Sweden, you see that very early on, me and him are going to make a deal to cut Karelia, like that. Then we're going to make another deal to cut the Russian Empire, like that. He gets some of the Archangelists in the north, and I get the rest. I'm going to invade and conquer the Ukraine and the Cossacks. I'm going to keep pushing south. We're going to leave Romania a little bit of land, but not for long. Romanian War is going to end that little border detail. I'm going to push south and take almost all of the Caucasus region. I'm going to give a tiny little bit to Turkey. In the west, I don't think I need to explain that I took the Balkans. That happened earlier, but that happened. I already explained the whole Polish and Romanian wars, but moving into post-Romanian war where it has to do more with me than Poland, so you see there's the whole conquering Romania. We have this really hard border gore that's slowly going to get ironed out. Really, not yet. So as you can see, by this point we've diminished the border gore, but it's not going to get cleaned up for quite some time down in Romania. Really, the launch of the Finnish War is going to be what cleans it up. I'm going to take decent amount of Finnish land, but Finland's also going to take a decent amount of Swedish land that was in this region. As you can see, the Finnish War, I'm invading Finland. Duh. I keep invading Finland. Romanian borders are finally clean. The creation of the Soviet Union, which is this little swat of land right here, which is Poland and Finnish land. You can see it actually in the corner of my screen right here. Right there. That is the not the Finnish Union, the Soviet Union. And then moving on to now, of course, we have those borders. Most likely the only other thing that's going to change is Germany. this northern part here falling into my command by the end of the game. That is every country. I hope I didn't miss anyone. If I did, I'm very sorry, but hope everybody stays safe and enjoyed this series. I don't think we'll have another episode, but, I get surprised all the time. Hope to see you guys in another series, or maybe if there is a next time, the next time. Have a good one, stay safe, and this has been Christopher Beast.